Greetings, Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 2693, and this is Wednesday. And I entitled this episode as Trump's Winning Ways. Here's the latest, and this is a headline. In fact, it starts out that way. The latest. Trump scores another win against Republican rival with Representative Thomas Massey's primary loss. President Donald Trump scored another win Tuesday against a Republican rival, dislodging Representative Thomas Massey in Kentucky's primary and knocking out one of his most outspoken critics on Capitol Hill. Massey has been a particularly difficult thorn in Trump's side, pushing for the release of the Epstein files, opposing the war with Iran, and voting against Trump's signature tax legislation last year. Republicans are unhappier with Trump's handling of the economy than they were a few months ago, but they're largely continuing to stand behind him as the war with Iran continues, a new AP NORC poll finds. About 6 in 10 Republicans approve of how Trump is handling the economy, according to the poll. That's down from about 8 to 10 in February before the war began. So I'm going to give you my opinion, but a couple of things here that occurred to me that I didn't plan on talking about, but I'm going to. I'm talking about Massey being a thorn in the side, and one of the things they mentioned was the Epstein files. I believe this is something that's really backfired on Democrats. There's probably been both Republican and Democrats caught in this. Trump has not been. And the Democrats, or those who have pushed for it, I think there's been some who have pushed for it and their name showed up. I'm not altogether sure on that, so I don't want to state names or anything. But my overall take on the Epstein files is that this is a loaded gun that instead of a bullet coming out the barrel, it's backfired. Opposing the war with Iran. That was not a good decision for them, Democrats or those against Trump. I think most Americans agree that this war, which did not start with Trump, it started back, you have to go back 47 years or so for this particular war. And really, the whole war really started back in the days of Abraham. It's part of that greater war. But this more recent war within a war started about 47 years ago, and no one was going to do anything about it. And it cost American lives, and they would not do anything about it. It cost America credibility in the world, but no one wanted to do it. They didn't have the nerve, the backbone, if you will, to do anything about it. Trump does. And then there's his signature tax legislation last year. I think most Americans are very happy with that legislation. Been good for me. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even a upper crust person. Maybe someday I will be, but at this point in time, I'm not. And I found it beneficial to me. So there's a lot of things going on out there that that support Trump that wasn't even planned on covering, in my opinion. Here's what I had in mind. In my opinion, this is a major victory for Trump leading up to the midterms. As for the polling, I think 6 out of 10 from an unreliable poll is quite good. How do I know the poll is unreliable? Folks, this is an AP article, and the poll was an AP generated poll. Do you really think they will use a reliable poll, which probably puts the number higher? I have stated before that most polls are unreliable, and I gave my reasons, and here they are. A, they are selective in who they poll. Often the polling source, the poll, is made up of primarily left-leaning people, whether they are Democrats, or Republican Party, or whatever. That's not an honest poll. B, they are asking misleading questions. It's very easy to do. If you can ask a question in such a way that the answer, no matter how they look at it and frame it, is more than likely going to lead to what the desired results of the poll are. So they're very selective in their questions. And C, the results of those polls appear, and I emphasize the word appear, to align with the agenda of their customers. There's old saying, follow the money trail. Now, both Republicans and Democrats use these polls, and both contribute money to them. But when you do the investigating, it looks to me very strongly that the left put in more money than the right. So that's where the money trail goes to the left. And that's where the polls will end up going too. Don't believe me? That's fine. But if you do the investigation, you'll find that's true. And by the way, some of these polls will say, well, we're unbiased. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as an unbiased poll. That's like saying there's an unbiased person in this world. It doesn't exist. That person does not exist. We all have biases. It's part of being that part of the human experience. We have opinions. We have beliefs. And those opinions and those beliefs color how we react, how we vote, how we do things. It's not that you want an unbiased poll. You want to reduce the impact of that bias. And by doing that, you structure your questions correctly and transparently. And you also broaden the your search. In fact, that's one of the things I say. You make your polling transparent, your questions and stuff like that. A broader polling source can be achieved, and there are polls out there who do this. One of the things is that some of these, I don't know if AP does this or not, this part or not. I suspect that there is a very open, at the same time inclusive, and by that I mean they want it bigger. They want the bigger audience, bigger polling source, but they want it to be more liberal, more leftist thinking. And to do this, they invite and they poll immigrated people, primarily I'm thinking here of illegal immigration, to see what they think. They can't vote, not legally, but they have but they include them in their polls. Why? If they can't vote, it doesn't have any real meaning, translatable meaning. Then another group that they will poll are those who have never voted and not likely to. Again, why? They look good, but they have no input as far as the election goes. And then there are those who do vote, but maybe only in the national, and maybe only they don't necessarily vote, they're registered to vote, but don't really exercise that responsibility. And it will include some who do actually register and vote, but they are by far the minority in their polling source. And so that is something that has to be addressed, and they don't. Now, my take on all this is that President Trump is building a winning combination. Even as our economy is shaken by the war and other factors that we may not have any control of in the first place, the American people still largely support him. Why? Well, this is my opinion. You're free to disagree with me entirely if you want. But I think it is because most Americans, whether they are in a Republican or some other party, realize that he is doing what is necessary on the foreign and domestic issues. He inherited, particularly in his first term, and then in his second term, he re-inherited them, because everything he did in the first term was undone by Biden, or most of it. So he is doing what we elected him to do, which was to clean up a foreign mess, to clean up a domestic mess. And he's doing what we do. And he's had, in a very short time, he has done a tremendous job. And most Americans, I think, realize this. Another reason is that I believe that that it is his desire to serve God, and that desire is real. Some people fake their um, allegiance to God. Some people fake their desire to please God. He's not faking. No, is he perfect? Not in the least. Am I perfect? Not in the least. Are you perfect? Not in the least. He doesn't dot his I's or cross his T's like we do. In fact, we don't always agree on the I's and T's. But he is trying to serve God to the best of his ability, which is refreshing in itself. And so I think that President Trump is building a winning combination, a foundation, if you will, for the midterm elections. The liberal press wants us to believe that his agenda is in trouble, that his last 2 years will be much small. He won't do much, won't accomplish much. Well, I think they're in for a surprise, a big surprise. Will they learn? No, they never learn. If they ever learned, they should have learned it in 2016. And then this last election, they should have learned it. They don't. They go off in a corner. They cry. They talk about the stupidity of the American people. They talk about our ignorance and some other insulting terms that they use, both the liberals in the media and in politics. And then they go about and start all over again doing the same stuff. They just don't learn. American people, by and large, believe in the representative democracy that we have. They believe that they're electing people to make a difference. And they also believe that those people should honor the fact that they've elected them to do a job, not get up there and debate, not get up there and throw insults at one another or any of this other stuff. What they're elected to do is do the job they were elected to do. And that's kind of a circular reasoning there. We elected him to do a particular job, and I don't have time to go into all the things that means. You have your own reasons why you might have voted for Trump. So the thing is this, is he doing what you asked him to do? Now, I didn't ask him if it's causing pain. Sometimes when you ask somebody to do something, if they do it, it's going to cause some personal pain. I didn't ask that. I said, is he doing what we elected him to do? For me, the answer is yes. Is there pain associated with it? Yes. Is there uneasiness associated with it? Yes. Am I discouraged because of it? No. Because I see that he is doing what must be done, what I elected him to do, voted for him to do. And he is doing a fabulous job. And I fully expect that he's going to have a major victory in the midterms and go on and do even better things than he has. There is that one thing at the end, though. Don't forget this. There's going to come a day when he's no longer president. I don't know who's going to take his place. It could be somebody in his administration. It could be somebody outside it. It could be somebody who agrees with him. It could be somebody who doesn't. All these are factors we don't know. But one thing we do know is down the road, and I don't think that road's very long, down the road, our country is going to turn back to the liberal ways. And I think we're going to become a third world country. Why do I think that? Because we're not mentioned in the Bible. Not at all. There's some things in there that people say, well, that might be us. That's a big might. But we're not really by name or geography or anything like this. We are not named. So there's going to be a reason for it. Well, I hope this has given you something to chew on, something to think about. And I'd be interested in knowing what you have to say. And you just fill out the comments below, keep it clean, keep it nice, and then I'll respond. I check that. Periodically, I check those comments to see if there's any comments coming in. And so, and then the other thing is this, I want you to know that TNR Independent Books is a Christian indie publisher who wants, if you're a Christian, you've been called to be a writer, an author, a published author, but you don't know how to write, we have a course. We will teach you. And then you write your book and we want to be your publisher. Perhaps you know how to write and you've written a manuscript or it's almost done and you're looking for a publisher. We would like you to consider us. Just simply go to terbookservices.com, go to our bookstore, go to our writing department, and there you'll see different services designed by an author, myself, for you, with you in mind. And you apply. If you get approved, you get a link where you can get in, and you will get an advantage that not talked about up front. But there's always going to be some kind of a coupon involved. There is a coupon involved. I don't say the number because it will change from time to time what that coupon is. But you will find out when you get approved what that coupon is, that current one. And it will be significant enough to make a difference, perhaps in your very thinking about whether you want to do it or not. And then the journey starts. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.